Hello and welcome, Human Biology Online students. My name is Jill Carr. I'll be your instructor this semester, and I wanted to give you a video introduction to our course to get everybody navigating appropriately and feeling comfortable with getting started. So if we're on your Blackboard course, you want to always go and look at the announcements page, because every week I will post an announcement kind of introducing you to the week's material and maybe addressing any concerns I might see in performance or people finding things where they need to. So just check your announcements page whenever you get on the class and just see if there's anything new that's been posted. The nice thing about the announcements page is that it also goes to your email. So when I send out an announcement, it automatically goes to your student account. So checking your email on a regular basis is also a really good idea. So most of the work, all of the work I should say, that you're going to find for the class is found in the Assignments tab. So that's your go-to place for getting things accomplished and submitting assignments. I want to start here though at the Syllabus and Schedule tab. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And then here you'll find our syllabus. It has all the course expectations, kind of outlines what to expect in this course. And then there's a quiz that I ask you to take, and I want you to score 100% to make sure you've read through the syllabus and you've watched this introductory video so you really feel comfortable and informed on how the class is going to proceed. So you can take that as many times as you want, and once you do that, folders will start to appear under the Assignments tab and you can get started with the class. So and most importantly, we have an access code for online students that you're going to do all of your online homework in your online labs. So you need to get signed up for that right away. And the way to do that is not to go to the website for your textbook, because if you look on the inside of your textbook, or if you purchase just the access code card from the bookstore, you're going to see, how to access it outside of our Blackboard. I want you to access it within Blackboard. That way you're going to the linked class that's been linked to our Blackboard. So the best way to get registered with that access code is to click on the Tools tab over here in Blackboard, and then look for the McGraw-Hill Higher Education, and then go to My Connect section. Once you click on that, it's going to take you right to our section for you to register that access code. Now in our Connect section, you'll see that I have a number of assignments that have been assigned throughout the semester. You're only going to see the ones that are available and ready for you to work on for the week. And once you complete those assignments, those grades will automatically go into the Blackboard gradebook, which is nice and handy. So you don't have to go to the Connect website separately. You're always working through our Blackboard course. So if we go back to our Syllabus tab here, that's how you're going to get connected to our Connect website for labs and lecture and lab homework. Let's take a look at the syllabus together. I want to talk about a couple of things that are in there just to make sure everybody's clear on what to expect. So everything you need to know for contacting me, my email, phone number, office location, my office hours are all listed here for your convenience. And then it just talks about some of the curriculum that has been written for the class, what to expect in terms of topics. So you can just read through that on your own. But when we get to the grading information, it's important to know how the grading is structured. So you need a 90% for an A, 80% for a B, 70% for a C. So be sure that you're looking at your grades in Blackboard and you're kind of aware of where your letter grade would fall, because you need a C or better to have this class apply to your programs. But a D is passing at 66%. So assignments for the class are always under that Assignments tab, like I listed in Blackboard. And every week you're going to have online homework for lecture. You're going to have an online lab, all found at the Connect website. And then there's going to be a lab quiz and a lecture quiz and a discussion board. And that's a repetitive pattern throughout the class. Our lecture and lab quizzes, discussion boards, lab activities, and then the lecture homework. So you'll see those all in the weekly folders under the Assignments tab. Then I want to talk a little bit about email etiquette and professional communication. Sometimes in an online course, students might get frustrated over the technology or just not feeling comfortable with the material because of a lot maybe going on personally, or just it's a difficult concept. And they might email me And what I would want you to think of is, if someone was reading that email, would they consider you a professional in how you communicate your concerns via email? Because email communication is no different than face-to-face communication or over the phone communication. It's a form of communication that represents you. So be sure that all of your emails sound professional, are respectful in nature, and not accusatory or overly emotional, because that reflects poorly on your ability to communicate professionally. And I'm going to do the same as well. So whenever we're communicating back and forth about the class, I always want to keep it very positive and working for solutions. So I'm flexible with issues that come up. Don't be afraid to contact me if you need help with a particular folder or something's come up that's interfering with your progress. Let's talk about it via phone or email, either way. But some quick tips for looking at good quality professional emails is avoiding the word confused. When we talk about being confused, it means that we don't have any information. And most of the information is in our course, but maybe you're just having a hard time navigating it and you're looking for clarification. So it's better to say, can you clarify, rather than saying, I'm confused, because I'm confused has kind of a negative tone associated with it for both yourself and also for the recipient of that email. Also, choose a tone or words that don't blame others or features of the course. Just keep an open mind, ask for clarification, and seek more information when you're needing to get clarification on something. Just ask for more information, and don't use it as a means for venting, maybe over some stress that you're feeling. Keep that for maybe face-to-face communication. If it's a sensitive issue that you are feeling emotional about, you can give me a call, or we can meet in person and talk about those issues. But sending it over email isn't the most appropriate manner to talk about more sensitive emotional issues. If we in the rare instance that I've gotten disrespectful emails, I don't usually respond to those via email, because it tends to just create a chain of more disrespectful emails. So what I would like to do is I'll give you a call and I'll ask you to come in and meet with me. Maybe we'll sit down with your advisor. If it's something that you're really feeling emotional about, we can't work out with the two of us, we might call our advisor in, just to make sure that there's a three-way conversation and everybody's being heard. So please take a moment when you send an email to make sure when you read it, does it reflect you as a professional student, someone who's going to be going out into the workforce and being able to work with others in a respectful, positive way. Some other things, communication timeline. If you send me an email, say it in an evening, I may not get to that email until the next evening, because I'm not always on my email in the evenings, because I teach during the day. And this, some semesters I'm also teaching evening classes, so I may not even get home and available to check email till 9 o'clock. And oftentimes when I get home after teaching evening classes, I try to relax and get ready for the next day just personally, and I'm not on my computer. So do allow 24 to 36 hours for me to respond to your email. And if you don't get a response after 36 hours, feel free to email again. Sometimes I have multiple emails that come in during a day, and if yours was at the top of that list, it might get pushed down as more emails come in, and it might get missed. So don't ever think that I'm ignoring emails, because I would never do that to any student. Just email me again in case it gets overlooked. Everybody's allowed one retake and one makeup for a missed assignment. So if that happens to you this semester, just feel free to email me and let me know you'd like to either retake if you had a poor score on a test or an assignment, or if you missed something, just let me know what the name of the assignment is, and we'll set a new due date for you to get that done. So I understand that things happen, and I'm flexible with that. So you're allowed one retake and one makeup for a missed assignment. The next section here just talks about academic integrity. These are college guidelines. This is for every class you would take here at Western. You can review those. And then it also talks about the withdrawal policy. There's a specific date in which you have to withdraw from the class in order for it not to appear in your transcript, or to get a certain portion of your financial aid, or for your tuition reimbursed. So be sure you're paying attention to that. No student is ever dropped by the instructor. The student has to drop the class themselves through their Western account. So make sure that if you feel like you need to drop the class, that you drop it yourself through the My Western account. And also sending me an email would be great so that I know to not look for you on Blackboard anymore. So those are just some of the basic guidelines for our class. You can, again, read through this to become familiar and understand, too, that anybody with disabilities, we are more than willing to accommodate disabilities, academic or physical, mental disabilities. We want to make sure that everybody feels successful in the class, and I can steer you toward the right people if you feel you would need some help in this area. So don't hesitate to contact me on that. So going back, I'm going to show you our assignments tab. So we're going to go here. This is where all the information for our class is located. So I have just a little title here. Weekly folders appear here after you've scored 100% on the syllabus quiz. I also included a phone number for tech support at Connect. Some people run into issues there, and there's the phone number if you need to contact them. And discussion boards, these is just a guideline on what good quality discussion boards look like. Make sure you read that so you get full points on those discussion boards. And here's our first week's folder. All you have to do this week is just post a comment on the discussion board and reply to 2 others for full points, and that's for 10 points. Then in week 2, this begins kind of the pattern for the class. Every week you're going to see a folder appear here with a date of Monday when that folder becomes available, and you have until the next week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, to complete some of those assignments, and all the due dates and times are listed right here. So on every folder there's always due dates and times listed. So if I go into this folder, I'm going to find a lecture folder, a lab folder, and a discussion board. So if I click on the lecture folder, there's a video lecture of me going over the notes. There is a notes packet for you to print off in the syllabus tab that you can print off for the course. And then some videos to help enhance your understanding. And then there's the lecture homework, and the due date is always the following Monday that the folder became available. And then the lecture quiz is always due the following Wednesday that the lecture folder became available. So you have time to work on the homework, time to work on that lecture quiz. Be sure you're not waiting until the hour and the date of the due dates before you begin those assignments. In the lab folder, we have a video introduction again. We have a little review game on Kahoot for you to practice for the lab quiz. Then there's the lab on the scientific method. That'll be due on Monday along with the lecture homework. This is at the Connect website, but you'll enter it right here by clicking on this link. And then we have a lab quiz. And the lab quizzes, like I said, are always due on Tuesday following the week that the folder became available. So you have a full week and 2 days to complete that lab quiz. So going back, every week we have a repeating pattern of lecture homework, lab activity, lab quiz, lecture quiz, and a discussion board. So students appreciate how the course is organized. I've gotten good feedback about that, so I think you'll find that the class is very predictable. And as long as you're planning your time and not waiting until these dates an hour before the due date in time, you should be having plenty of time to get the work done. It's a matter of getting started right when that weekly folder becomes available. So if you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to contact me. Under contact information has all the information for the different resources throughout the college, as well as my own contact information. So feel free to reach me at your convenience, and I look forward to having each of you in class.